Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alicia.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Kristin.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to episode 74 of Adventures and Mousecapades.
This week we're going to have Kristin and Ryan join us because we're going to have a great debate on which field is the more challenging, aeronautical engineering or computer engineering.
Yep,
All right.
So let's dive right into that.
Let's do this. No, seriously, Kristin and Ryan, they live right near us. Our kids have been involved in some of the same activities, and they, like us, are frequent cruisers on the Disney Cruise Line. And so we wanted to have them on. They've recently enjoyed the Disney Wish a couple times, and actually I think 3 times. And yeah, we just wanted to kind of compare notes and get some other perspectives on the Disney Wish. So welcome, y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
First off, can you all share with us what your Disney resume is? What's your Disney street cred, basically?
So we are DVC members, annual pass holders at Disney World, and I've done 8 cruises, and Kristin's done 7 with Disney Cruise Line, and I think I've been to Disney World like 40 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I didn't start going to Disney until I was an adult. I first went with Ryan and with another couple we went, and then we went for our honeymoon. And then once we had kids, we brought the kids back. So we've been going back at least once a year, not twice a year ever since then. So we started cruising probably 2017. We dipped our toes in with the 4-night on the Dream, which is the run, just the where is it, Nassau and Castaway Gold. And so we started with that to get our feet wet and decide if we liked cruising. And I was a little bit nervous about it, to be honest. I was a little afraid of the whole boat thing, but yeah, once we did that, it was great. We enjoyed it a lot. So then we did 3 7 days on the Fantasy. Both out of Port Canaveral, 2 Western Caribbean and 1 Eastern Caribbean. And then we did a back-to-back on the Wish in August of last year. And then I did the first half of a back-to-back on the Wish in April for spring break. And then Ryan and our older daughter did did both halves. I had to get off with our younger daughter for camp. So
Got it.
That's why we're a little bit different.
Awesome. So 7 and 8 cruises, everything's been on Disney Cruise Line. Have you been on another cruise line, or that's it?
Nope. We were sold on Disney after the first one.
Yeah.
That sounds very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't been on the Magic or the Wonder, correct?
We have not. Correct.
Okay.
We've only been on the bigger, Dream and Fantasy sister ships, and then now on the Wish. We'd like to. We just haven't gotten the chance yet.
It's going to be a little easier now, I think, with its likely staying on the West Coast. Well, the Wonder, one of them.
Yeah.
You did a back-to-back over spring break, and we saw that one of those sailings had some, let's say, fun getting into Nassau due to weather.
It did. Yes.
How bad was that really?
Well, honestly, we slept through the Nassau craziness that you can find on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to be rough coming out of port. They were pretty clear it was going to be a rough night, and there was air sick bags in all the public restrooms.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, this is going to be a little interesting.
Yeah, we definitely saw some cleanup crews in the atrium areas a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there were definitely, and then talking later on our Facebook group or whatever, people were like, oh yeah, I was so sick. Even our servers, our head server was basically down with seasickness, and so was our assistant server.
Wow.
So the first night was it was very much a little touch and go for a lot of people. I think we had World of Marvel the first night. So we were fine. I mean, like, I don't think any of us got sick.
Yeah.
Our youngest, we gave her some anti-nausea meds, but that was, just kind of as a precaution more than anything else, because she tends to get a little sick to her stomach. But yeah, it was definitely rough seas. Like, we were, sitting in the bar, and the whole boat's kind of like ship is going back and forth, and you could feel it kind of lots of movement. But
it was 10-meter seas, so
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen the YouTube video of the ship coming into Nassau, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so horrible," and I'm like, "I've been in way worse seas than on a Disney cruise. That doesn't look like bad at all." So
yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay,
if you're not used
so
to
it was
it,
a little bit rougher out in the open.
Yeah, I would say that was probably top 1 or 2 roughest days of sea we've had. And we heard that there were supposed to be 5 ships in port in Nassau that day, and the Wish and one of the MSC ships were the only ships that made it in. So 3 other ships got a sea day in 30-foot seas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was one nice thing, is because the seas were pretty rough. Obviously, once you get into port, into Nassau, it's calm, and it's it was windy, but it was fine, right? Once you're past the breakwaters and everything. But it was definitely better than being out, just in the open sea. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of our Panama Canal cruise sea days, and we had 65 or 70 knot winds from like the starboard side of the boat, and it was 10-meter, 30-foot seas, and the ship had like a 30-degree list on it, and they actually had to alter course to just relieve some of the tilting. But we were on like deck 8 or something like that, and we were watching waves, like the spray, like come up to our balcony. So
we were on
Fun
7,
times.
and that was the same thing for us.
There's
I would say that we were fortunate the way the ship was moving. It was a slight side to side motion,
it was more
as
of a rolling
opposed to like a giant up and down.
Yeah, the other time we've had rough seas, I don't know how big they were, but we were heading back into port on the Fantasy, and yeah, like, it was very much the up and down. So it was like bow stern, it was just very like, you could feel it. Our 11, now she's 11 now, but she was 9 at the time, because it was it was right before COVID. And she was in the drop down bunk, and she was bouncing around. So she ended up sleeping in the bed, and I went up and slept in the bunk, like in the drop down bunk instead, because she couldn't sleep. She was like rolling around. So
oh my goodness.
gosh.
Okay, I'll take one for the team. I'll sleep up.
Well, rough seas aside, kind of, you've been on the Wish 3 or 4 times at this point, and what are your kind of overall impressions of the Wish? Did you like it? And did you hate it? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think for me, like, I liked parts and I didn't like parts. I think it's a little different the way that it's laid out than the other ships. Everything's kind of more spread out. Like, Fantasy and the Dream, right? They have like adult areas just all in one place. So that's kind of nice, where it's just like, okay, you can kind of go from bar to bar, and not that we pub crawl, but just it's all right there. And it just, for the first, like, we did obviously a back-to-back last year. It took us like both, like, by the time the second cruise was done, it was finally felt like, okay, I kind of know where I'm going.
Got
like,
it. Yeah.
Going, forward and aft, starboard port, just, I would get lost a lot more easily, I feel like, on the Wish. It's beautiful. I love the atrium is gorgeous. The cool light show for the the Cinderella Kiss Goodnight thing that they do. I think apparently they do it at 10 and midnight. I didn't know they did it earlier.
I didn't either.
Right? I stayed up till midnight to watch it, and I was like, oh, I could have done that earlier. But we were up anyway. Our kids were at the kids club. I think that's one thing, just the layout's a little different. I didn't like the adult area as much. It was more outside and exposed, and especially on our cruise over April when the weather was terrible the first couple days. it was like right, no one was out there. Like to get to the Cove Cafe, instead of being kind of like really easily accessible, you'd have to go out, like outdoors, and then around to the aft part of the ship, right?
Yeah.
And it's very open. And so I went because I wanted to get a snack, because they used to have at the Cove Cafe on the other ships, they'd have all the little
Yes.
pastries and stuff throughout the day. Like it didn't matter what time you were there, they always had something. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go get myself a snack. And I walked all the way back there, and they were like, yeah, we don't have anything. And I was like, I got soaking wet walking back to the Cove Cafe, and I was a little bit miffed when I got back there, and they were like, yeah, we don't have any snacks. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have snacks? So that was a disappointment. I am disappointed. And I don't know if the other ships, because I haven't been on the other ships since, post-COVID, if they've changed at all. But the little cafes, is it Triton's that's close to the atrium on the other ship?
Whatever, I forgot that.
I don't remember what it's called. But they'd have like the coffee bar that's by the atrium. They'd have like the little like pastry case. Apparently I'm talking with my stomach, because that's what I really enjoyed, that like being able to get a pastry. Honestly, that's what I do for breakfast some mornings. I just grab a pastry when we were getting our coffee. And the Wish did not have that at the two different cafes on different levels. And then at Cove Cafe, there just wasn't the snack option like for like a nice pastry. So that was disappointing to me.
Yeah.
I realize that's like a small nit, but that was disappointing.
I totally understand, though. I don't think we realized that the Cove Cafe snacks on the other ships were actually included in the cost of the cruise, because you have to pay for the coffee and anything else you get there. It took us like, I don't know, 4 or 5 trips to realize that. And when we went on the Wish and we were looking around, we went into the Cove Cafe like right after we got on board just to look. And that was one of the first things I noticed, is there's no snacks here.
Yeah. And it's such a weird, like your point about like it being super exposed. Like that was the first thing I said. Like I'd hate to be out here in the middle of the winter or in a storm. Like it's just pointless.
Yeah. It was really like there was nobody out there, right? I went that one day, right? And there were a handful of people in the Cove Cafe. They braved, getting out there, but they were just hanging out. And but yeah, I was like, why did I get myself wet to get back here? Because it was windy and rainy. It was not a pleasant day. It wasn't like stormy, but it was definitely not pleasant. And so that was my. I was sad.
What did you think of the stateroom?
I thought they were basically the same. Comparing the Dream and Fantasy staterooms to the Wish, it felt very, very similar. We did the first back-to-back, we had a deluxe veranda. And so that one was a little bigger than the most recent one, where we had just the standard veranda room. And so we did notice a difference in size between the deluxe and the regular stateroom with veranda, something that I didn't really appreciate, I don't think, until we kind of had those two back-to-back experiences. The deluxe room felt at least, several feet bigger, from the standpoint of there was like a chair in my mom's stateroom next to the couch, where they didn't have a drop-down Murphy bed coming out of the wall in her stateroom, her deluxe stateroom. And so she really liked that, because that gave her a spot that she could sit, that she found more comfortable than the couch, which, it was the convertible couch. And so we did notice it felt a little bit smaller on this more recent back-to-back with just the standard stateroom with veranda. So I'd probably actually pay the additional money for that, a little bit of additional space. Because we weren't tripping over each other as much, like walking out of the stateroom.
Right.
Yeah.
One other thing I thought that was nice about the deluxe versus the standard was, so our mother-in-law comes with us as well on our trips. So she was with us. We had a split stateroom. So the lockout door in the standard is closer to the middle of the cabin. It's like right at the end of the bed. And the one in the deluxe veranda was closer to
right by the veranda door.
And so it was less intrusive for our kids to go especially if they're coming back late, because now our kids stay up later than the grandma does. It used to be the opposite, but now they stay out pretty late at the kids club, and yeah, just coming back through, like if you're going through the door, then it's like right by the bed, right? It's really hard to not wake up grandma because she'll be sleeping. So that was just a small thing that was like, okay, well maybe we'll splurge for the for the deluxe next time.
What decor did you have? Like, what theme did you have in your staterooms?
One time we had Tiana, I think. And then the other time I think we had Cinderella.
Okay.
Maybe? Yeah, it's Cinderella for sure.
Yeah, we had Cinderella this past time.
And then you've done something that we haven't tried yet, which is to fit 4 people's worth of stuff into a closet.
Into a Wish stateroom, yeah.
And on the Wish. How did that go, especially with you being there for for a week?
Yeah, so I think it ended up working out pretty well. I think that was the other thing that we noticed about the deluxe stateroom was there was a lot more drawers to put clothes in the deluxe. It was interesting because it looked like it was about the same size kind of desk credenza area and everything, and where the pull-out drawer was for the refrigerator. But there was, I think, just because they had that a little bit of extra space, they had a set of drawers. Whereas in the standard stateroom, there really wasn't any drawers. And so you were kind of trying to shove everything into that closet space, which was a little bit tight with 4 people.
Yeah, I think we also had some extra life jackets, like an infant life jacket and stuff were in our closet. And we probably could have asked the stateroom attendant to just be like, okay, we don't need this, right? But we just had like way more life jackets than we needed. So that took up space on the shelves. And so we're like, okay, well, that's not as much space. I also had 2 like hanging sections, which honestly, we probably could have done with 1 hanging section and more shelving personally. Like that's, I mean, we hang up some stuff, but just not, not everything. If we were on a 7 night and we did like a actual formal night, we probably would add more hanging stuff. But since it was a 3 night, 4 night, there's no like formal night and all that stuff. It's just a little bit more. We kept it a little more casual. So so I think we made it work. Everything everything fit. But it was definitely tighter than I feel like on the
deluxe.
in the deluxe. Yeah.
Got it.
What did you all think about the atrium area and the shopping?
So I really like the atrium. I think it's a really cool concept that they have that dedicated stage space where they have areas for meet and greet, and they also have some short shows throughout the day. That's a really cool addition, I think. And the balcony area where they can have the princesses, and a lot of times it's as a couple, it's like Flynn Rider and Rapunzel, or Naveen and Tiana. Just waving to people, that's really fun, especially because you can go up, I think it's like deck 5, where you're basically at the same level as that balcony. And so they're, only a couple of feet away from you, just kind of waving at you, and they'll even talk to you for a minute or something. So that was pretty fun.
That was fun. Agreed.
I think the other cool part was on our second, on our 3-day the second part of the back-to-back, my oldest daughter and I got to test out the new magic bands for the ship.
Oh, nice.
And so that was cool because the magic bands, which are basically, Magic Band Pluses, the newest ones you can get in the park. So it lights up with certain things, and it would light up with the wishing star, like midnight show and everything, and vibrate and stuff. So that was pretty cool. That was integrated into the system like that.
Did you like having the band to like open your door or to pay for things or stuff like that? Was that easier for you than having the card?
I think that there's a lot of kinks to work out. I think that having it to open your door was great. Obviously, it was the very first time they had tried it on the ship, so we were definitely the beta testers, and so I know that I gave mostly positive feedback to the research team. There were some more seasoned Disney cruisers who had a lot more, I felt like, pointed feedback in our group session. But I would say one of the things about paying for everything, it was very convenient as long as the point of sale was set up to allow you just to tap and go. A lot of but there were several places like, for example, like the Enchanted Sword Cafe and the Wishing Star Cafe where you could get a coffee, where the point of sale terminal was on the back wall. And so you'd have to take your band off and give it to them so they could tap it.
Yeah.
And so in that situation, I think they have to kind of work through what, how to do that. And also, if you wanted to pay for something in the dining room, like get a glass of wine or a bottle of wine or the drink of the day, you have to give them your band because they have to take it back to the back area to scan.
Right, because they don't have the point of, at least they don't have little handheld things like they do it.
So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for them to do some really cool stuff on the ships with it. But it's probably going to be a lot like the Magic Band Plus, where it's going to be incremental, right? So like, in the parks right now, it's not probably all the way up to its potential, and the same thing you'll see on the ships as they kind of try to roll it out. I think we gave them some really cool ideas that they could try, and so we'll have to see if they can do that in the next couple of years.
I think it was pretty funny. Like I think one of the feedbacks, I wasn't there, but Ryan was sharing that, some of the, like a Pearl cruiser was like, but I want to be able to show that I'm, my status, and like without the lanyards, right? Like how do I show that? So, wanting like a specific, just obviously they have just the one design that they were beta testing with, but they're coming out with different levels or different, different designs, would be cool. I know I saw there was already a different, like a different cruise line one that I saw was available for pre-order for going to the parks, but
you got to have those Castaway Club status symbols to show off to everybody.
Right.
So.
100%.
I actually saw that they're doing brand new lanyards.
I saw that too.
They did have
And
brand
it has
new
like
lanyards.
Mickey head or Mickey face on it or something like that. Like he's peeking over something.
What did you think of the restaurants in general?
So I felt like the 1923 was the best one. From a food standpoint, it was phenomenal. Yeah. Really, really good. And when I compare that back to the Dream or the Fantasy, I'd say none of the three restaurants on those two ships really stood out to me as like, oh my gosh, amazing from a food standpoint. And so I felt like 1923 really, they did a great job with the food. I think the other two restaurants, the focus is the entertainment. I really liked the show in Arendelle. They did a really good job on that, I felt like. And with Worlds of Marvel, they've actually already tweaked the show between last August and no spoilers, last August and April. They made changes to it, which was kind of crazy. But I think the food was kind of hit or miss with those two restaurants.
Yeah. What did you think of the show in the Marvel theater or the Marvel restaurant?
World of Marvel. Yeah. I thought it was I think for me, it was something I'd like to see once. Like seeing it twice was kind of like, okay, it's the same. Animator's palette's kind of cool because it changes based on what people draw and other stuff like that. And so I think that's kind of neat. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think for, I don't know, I felt like we'd never had a bad seat in the animator's palette where you couldn't see screens close, just in a good range. But I think both times that we were at World of Marvel, like we didn't have a seat where we could see the screen very well. And that's where like the whole show was on the screen. And so that was, I don't know, a little disappointing, right? Just you're paying a lot of money and then you're like, oh, I'm stuck in the corner, I can't see anything. But but I mean, overall, it was good. The show was fun.
Yeah,
I did like the interactive part of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, for the record, I think we need to state like we haven't colluded to have many of the same opinions. But I think we have many of the same opinions across the board on the Wish. So at least it's calibrating. We know we're not out in left field or anything.
There you go.
Yeah. What were your highlights from the Wish? Like, what are the top 2 or 3 things that really stood out to you about the Wish?
So I guess I'll start with kid stuff. So I really like the way they designed the pool decks.
Mhm.
I mean, our kids and are transitioning to the point where they're not spending as much time in the pools, but famously, we joke about this. Our very first cruise on the Dream, the last day we had was a day at sea, and so our kids said, "Hey, pick us up from the kids club." It was like 2 o'clock in the Oceaneers Club. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We want to go swimming. We get up to the pool deck, and the deep pool gets closed for a chemical imbalance. So everybody goes out of that pool.
A
And so it's like, okay,
2319.
yep, go to the other pool, and they walk over to the other pool, and that pool closes for. So that double pool closure, they got to drain and clean and everything.
Right.
The fact that there are, I think it's 5 smaller pools on the Wish, I think is really great because I think it spreads the people out more and the kids out more, which I think is really helpful. I think something else I really liked was once again we found an amazing bartender to hang out with for the week. And my recommendation to people when if they say what do you want to do on a Disney cruise, I was like, go to the bars you think you're going to like, and then find a bartender you like, and just hang out with the same cast for the week.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool. We met an amazing bartender. He was in Keg and Compass last August. We hung out with him all for back to back, and then he was in Nightingales this time. And so hung out with him for their whole week, which is awesome. Now I'm Facebook friends with him and everything, so that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
And I think lastly, I really did enjoy the first show, Seize the Day.
I think it's
Seize the Adventure?
Seize the Adventure. Yes, that one.
Adventure.
Yeah, that show was really, really good. I felt like.
Cool.
I really liked that one a lot as well.
We missed the shows. Our what do you call it? The muster station was in the theater, and so we got to experience those seats like fairly soon, and we looked at each other and we're like,
It's too uncomfortable.
Not coming back to first show. Like they have squeezed those seats together, and we're bigger folks, and it was just uncomfortable to sit in those seats.
Yeah, those seats are not. There's something weird about the way they fold down. Like it's just they're a little bit tighter for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hoping we'll get to see next time we're on the Wish. We're hoping we'll get to see all the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll try.
Yeah.
We'll try.
Yeah. We definitely liked Seize the Adventure was the first night, and then they had the Little Mermaid, which is an interesting retelling. My kids they didn't love it. I mean, it was good. The actors were amazing, right? They're always great caliber, but didn't love that show a ton. And then the Aladdin was pretty similar to the one that was on Fantasy, but they did make a few more tweaks to that show as well. So
that show scared me. We saw it on the Fantasy in August, and
the genie masks.
The masks.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, the genie mask is definitely weird. The rest of it was good. It was interesting in August because they were still working out all the kinks. They had contingencies, and there was no flying carpet yet, so they were literally sitting on black boxes like you'd see it, Big Star, like our place with our kids do drama stuff, and they were sitting on black boxes, and like the background's flying behind them, and they're like pretending they're on a magic carpet, and it was pretty hilarious. Obviously did a great job singing and going with it, but it was pretty funny. It was like they didn't even have a carpet laid out. We're like, at least you could have had like a carpet over the box, something. But anyway, yeah, that was really early. I mean, they were still working out all the mechanical stuff. So
yeah, better this time around in April.
Yep, yep. They have the magic carpet.
Yep, it works.
It was flying.
Did you all do any shipboard activities or anything like that, or tastings, or?
Yeah, so we love to do trivia on the ship. So I forget which one we did where we got like 19 out of 20 on food trivia. Yeah, that one was fun. They had the first time I'd seen them do sidekick trivia, Disney sidekick trivia. That was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
And then we did do a couple tastings. We did chocolate and liqueur.
That's our favorite.
And then,
I love that one.
And then I also did mixology and the gin tasting. my bartender friend was able to squeeze me into was able to squeeze me into his gin tasting, so that was pretty cool.
Very
And I think
nice.
that's the first time they've done a gin tasting on a Disney ship. Was on the Wish.
Yeah, there's a couple new ones. There's a gin tasting. There's a Worlds of Old Fashioned. Like,
Yes. Did you do that one?
yeah,
Yes, it was
Yeah,
that
I
was
heard that was really
great.
good.
That was in Hooks Barbary.
Oh, very fun.
So there was just 6 people in there. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was really.
Oh, that's really
good.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
fun. In addition to tastings, like I checked out the spa. I got a massage at the spa. Didn't do the Rainforest Pass, but just went for a massage, and that was good. Actually, in August we did a couples massage on Castaway at the Cabanas, so that was really
Nice.
fun. We'd not done that before. Yeah, and I also did a mani-pedi over at the Tangled Salon, or whatever it's called. It's called
Yep.
Tangled Salon.
Yeah, Tangled Salon.
Yeah, which is such a cute
Untangled.
theme.
Yeah.
Untangled
that's right.
Salon. Yes,
Oh,
not
yeah,
Tangled. 'Cause that would be. And that's such a cute theme too. Just like it's all tangled. Rapunzel themed.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun.
You mentioned the trivia, which made me think we did a few rounds of trivia, and one of them was, I think, 80s songs or something like that, if I remember correctly. And that session was in the, what do they call it, the Luna Lounge, which is the new concept, at least on the Disney ship, where it's a multi-story kind of venue.
Yep.
How did you think that compared to like D Lounge or Azure or Azure, or however they say it on board? Like, what did you
Or
think
the
about
tube,
that space?
yeah.
So when I would say the first time we did the Wish in August, I was really unsure how the space was gonna how it was gonna be. But the more time I spent on the ship and the more activities I saw in it, I thought that they made a really smart decision. Like it was always packed for bingo. Both floors. A lot of the bigger games were pretty packed too, and so and the fact that they also had like a bar attached to it for people, I thought was like a really good way to integrate it, so people didn't have to go venture off somewhere to get a drink and come back. So I felt like that was pretty well done, honestly.
Yeah. Our only note was how open it is up on the
Yes.
second level.
It is,
And,
yeah.
They're doing like match your mate, or the we had some pretty adult fun happening during the music trivia, and they're doing like family karaoke at the lounge behind it, and all these kids are like standing there. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So
It was a little awkward.
that's our one complaint about it. The space is really nice in there, but because it's so open on the second level, when they are doing 18 and over events, kids can just hang out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it definitely does get loud. I would agree. We spent a lot of time at Kegan Compass, our first cruise, and even sitting at the bar, you would clearly hear people in Luna if it was a really, if it was Match Your Mate or something really funny.
Raucous, yeah.
Yeah, people being raucous. So
The silent DJ party was quiet.
Yeah.
Because I did that, and that was super fun.
that is very fun to watch from the second floor.
I bet.
Silent discos are awesome. What opportunities do you see for improvement with the next 2 Triton class ships?
Well, and I think they're going to be, my understanding is they're going to be similar design. So, I would love to see them change the point of sale machines if they're really going to be doing the bands more, for sure, so that it's really easy, not just for us as guests, but for the crew members as well, to kind of streamline that for sure. I also think there may be a bit of an opportunity when it comes to theming of the adult bars. I felt like, Keg & Compass was great as kind of their pub. We never went into Nightingale's the first time we were on it, but then, ended up hanging out there the whole time with our with our friend bartender, and I ended up enjoying that theming. But with like hyperspace and the bayou area, those are just kind of, I don't know, they feel like either out of place, or there could be a better way to utilize that space, or move the adult spaces elsewhere and utilize that space for something else to try to make it a little more, not just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think that especially on the Magic and the Wonder, there's a nightclub area. Like all of those things, like after 9 o'clock, this whole area like turns into adults only kind of thing. There's somewhat of that on the Dream and the Fantasy as well, but everything is so scattered around the Wish that it's really difficult to have that kind of cohesive space that you feel like you could, if you want to do bar hop and you don't have to walk like halfway across the ship to hit another spot.
It's so far, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to experience Hyperspace Lounge back in August, like on the first time you were there?
Yep. Yeah, we did.
Was it different if you popped in in April more recently? Like, had they fleshed some of those things out?
So I popped my head in there a couple times, and obviously the major difference was when the ship started sailing in August. It was reservation based, which I think created a lot of frustration and angst for guests. And so now it's basically just first come, first serve, and they have a sign outside encouraging people not to spend their whole evening in there, so other people can experience it. My biggest complaint back in August, and it was still the case in April, is it is so loud in there with the sound effects that I didn't want to stay very long.
Yeah. Well, in August we had our drinks and we were like, okay, we're ready to go. Like we didn't want to hang out. I mean, we like Star Wars. It wasn't the theme in general. It was just was pretty loud. Every time the scene changed, there's like there's just lots of more noise, I feel like. We spent a lot of time in Skyline on the Fantasy because we had a favorite bartender there, and so we spent a lot of time there, and that was so fun, right? Like it's a very similar, in terms of it's got the fun backgrounds that change, and but it was much quieter and a little bit more like low key, and the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge just felt a little bit more just harried in terms. It was just very loud and
On this most recent one, did you go back into hyperspace?
I stuck my head in there twice. I didn't have a drink in there. I think that was the other thing that kind of threw us for a loop was, obviously I think you can order anything you want there. It has a full bar, but their cocktail menu list was a little bit out there. And we haven't been to like Olga's Cantina, for example, at Hollywood Studios, but and so maybe it's a similar vibe. But we sat down in August to because we had a reservation and we wanted to try it, and I kind of struggled to find a drink on their menu that I was like, oh yeah, this sounds really interesting.
Olga's is like that too. Like there's just some out of this world offerings,
right?
If
Space
you will.
Cocktails.
I think I've heard other folks talk about it, and I think Alicia and I are on board. One of the two new ships, I fully expect that space to be kind of like a Trader Sam's tiki bar kind of thing going on.
That'd be very cool.
Like an adventure theme.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. Any other big changes that you'd like to see made on some of the new ships?
Obviously, the layout, I don't know that they can change a lot at this point in the design, right? Because they're probably quite far down. But yeah, I definitely did like the other ships where it is a little bit more clustered, where there's just, you can kind of go from thing to thing. Again, I don't know that they're probably a little too far down the line for that. But that's one of my bigger things. Maybe some more covers to get to the Cove Cafe if that's where it's going to be on the other ships. Just a little bit more sheltered area way to get there would be awesome. Yeah, I don't think we spent really any time in the adult area this cruise because the weather was not great, right? And so there was no kind of inside or like out of the way area to hang out. Of course, I mean the pool decks were pretty empty too because it was raining and windy and
Right. I would like to see them readjust. I think you're right. I don't think they can move some of their big blocks around. I think like staterooms are set. I think, you know, they may be able to change some furnishings, get some more drawers. I think there's been a lot of feedback on that. But I think they could move a couple walls. Like, I would love to see them reorganize the shopping area. I think there's not enough room in Mickey's mainsail for kind of general merch. And meanwhile, they're wasting like a couple hundred square feet in each of those really high-end, fancy, you know, buy a $50,000 watch shops. That's just completely unused. And you have like this overstuffed ottoman that nobody's ever in. I think they could make some more, some better choices on like moving a few interior walls that wouldn't really affect the structure of the ship to make better use of that space.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So you've been on the Wish 3 times now.
Or 4.
Or 4.
Or 4.
Are you planning to go on the Wish again? Do you have another Wish cruise set up?
We don't have any cruises set up, but we have many placeholders available to us, because the nice part about getting a back-to-back is that you can get 4 placeholders in, you know, the span of 2 cruises. So lots of opportunities. I do think we've kind of talked about wanting to go back to a 7-day. You know, I think we've done both. The challenge with that for us is we've done both East and West, and we don't really like the Western Caribbean that much. Just the stops don't really excite us. And it feels like, just by happenstance, every time we go to look for a cruise for when like we're on vacation or the kids are out of school, it's always Western Caribbean. So I do like the flexibility of doing a back-to-back on the Wish. That has worked out really well. And, you know, I do like the ability to hang out with, you know, crew members that we know they're, you know, on the ships and stuff. So that could influence, you know, us in our decisions, you know, going forward potentially.
Yeah, we're doing a Western for the first time coming up in December, like the week before Christmas. And again, I think if we had our druthers, we'd do an Eastern. We've done an Eastern twice and just absolutely love that itinerary.
Yeah.
So we'll make do. We'll slum it, you know, with a Western Caribbean cruise. But yeah, I think in general, the longer cruises are the way to go. If you can time it right, or they have, you know, availability that's right, they're super proud of their Alaska itineraries. Like, I can't recommend doing a Disney Alaska cruise because they just want way too much money for them. But you can get every once in a while they'll slip a 7-night into the rotation out of San Diego that goes down the Baja Peninsula, and they'll hit like Puerto Vallarta and Cabo and maybe Ensenada or some other place down there. That's a good cruise. Those are good as well. If you're looking for something different that's not an Eastern Caribbean and just change it up. And that may, you know, get your classic ship bucket list check mark there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think our kids definitely love the Wish. They love the Edge and everything because of how much bigger it is than Edge was on the Dream and the Fantasy. So I think that was a big win for them. And I think, you know, if they had the choice to continue to be able to do that ship with the size of the, you know, Tween Club, they would really jump on that for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're gonna really enjoy the Treasure then, because it should have those bigger spaces, those fancier spaces. We never made it down to the Oceaneers Club.
We didn't. We tried. It was way too short of a cruise.
We walked through the Vibe. The Vibe was amazing. I was quite impressed.
So
I think
cool.
we saw into Edge, and it was similarly really nice. So
Yeah, so our kids, I mean, we saw them obviously at meals and sometimes during the day, but they were off and doing their own things. They're 11 and 13 now, so they can both be in Edge. Our oldest, the reason we took the cruise in August on the Wish was because we wanted to have her be able to do the Oceaneers Club before she aged out on the new ship. And so that was one of the reasons we did the back-to-back on the Wish instead of doing a different 7-day, so that we could, you know, check out the new ship, see how it was. And
totally.
There's a slide down into the kids club, so that was pretty neat, right? We had to
absolutely.
we had to try it out. So yeah, and a lot of stuff wasn't. I mean, like when we went in August, it was so new, and they were working
Yeah.
all the kinks out, right? So
Yeah.
there was a lot that like wasn't really working yet in the kids club, but it was still they still had a great time. So
Awesome.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you would want to talk about?
We did do Palo
did
too.
Palo, for
Ah.
brunch.
Mhm.
And that was good. It was similar. I mean, I would say similar experience to the Palo on the other ships that we've
Yeah.
been on.
I did like how Palo was configured on the Wish. It felt like it was the window, just the way the windows were set up and everything. It felt like you had a kind of better view out of the side of the ship and everything too.
Yeah, and we were at port in Nassau when we went, so it was not rocking up and down when we were at the restaurant. But I do miss the
Buffet.
buffet. I mean that
Yeah.
I don't think they brought that back anywhere yet, but
I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think they will. But
No.
what's interesting is again the pastries. They used to because they had all like the sweets and then like the more the
Savory,
antipasta, the savory, and then all they had was the savory for the like antipasta platters. But of course, I had like a delicious mound of Parmesan cheese and some olives.
Absolutely.
That's
There's the winner right there.
That's the key is you got to get the Parmesan. So yeah, actually it was funny because I was like, I don't want the meat. Can I just have like the cheese and the olives? Because I don't want to waste it. Right? It was something I wasn't going to eat. So
Did you make it to dessert at Palo for brunch?
We did, yeah.
So they had the sticky buns back.
I don't think did they have the sticky buns?
They
I
added
don't think
it.
they did.
They added it fairly recently,
Yeah.
but we were on there in March, and I don't remember if it was on the menu or if you had to specifically
So
ask
maybe
for
it
it.
Oh, it
was
was
an off menu.
like a
A
secret
super
menu.
secret menu.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I mean, but it was big. It was like large cinnamon roll size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the old sticky bun.
It was
like
the
that.
old sticky
Oh,
bun.
nice.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we did the lava cake and something else.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Nice.
Both were
It was good.
delicious.
Yeah, it was delicious.
I'd love to spend on a longer cruise on that ship. So like on the Treasure or whatever the other one's going to be, having a longer cruise there and just hanging out and reading in like the rows because you still have those beautiful windows on a sea day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
that was
amazing.
very pretty.
Yeah. Yep.
I liked the theming of that. Yeah, and we didn't do Enchante, but like but yeah, I loved the like Ryan was saying the layout of Palo, the layout of the road. So you're like, you can look out the windows as opposed to on the other ships it was more like the whatever the bar that's
Meridian.
Meridian. You can't really it's kind of in the middle, in between the two restaurants. You don't really see anything, right? It's just,
Right.
it's just an inside bar. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I think lastly, we'd like to try to stump you guys with some of your Disney favorites.
Okay.
Okay.
So this will be the lightning round, the bonus round, if you will. So we'll start off. Who's your favorite Disney character?
Ooh, that's a good one. I can tell you my kids really quickly. Are we doing classic Disney?
It's Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel.
Oh, whatever you want.
it to
Whole
be.
universe.
Oh, the whole universe. Well, I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange. Or if you're going Pixar, then Mr. Incredible.
Nice.
I am a big fan. I like for like princesses, classic, more not classic, but more. I like Merida. I'm a big fan of Merida, and I also really like Scrooge McDuck. But then we also have, Duffy Bear, but that's not really like he's not in like shows and stuff. But like for like a character you can buy merch for, Duffy Bear is like one of my favorites. Yeah.
Nice.
What is your favorite movie?
This is gonna be a deep cut, but Treasure Planet.
Oh yes, that is so
Wow.
good.
That is a
really
deep
good
cut.
movie.
I love Treasure Planet.
Yeah, classic Disney.
Kristen, how about you?
I'll say Brave, but yeah, no, it's hard to pick one. There's so many good movies.
Yeah. All right, so Kristen, I'm going to make you go first, so you don't have as much time to think. What's your favorite ride in the parks?
Oh, Cosmic Rewinds, the new Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that is like the most fun ride I've ever been on. Yeah, just the coaster, the music. It's super fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Ryan?
Well, I would normally say Cosmic Rerun, but Kristen already took that one, so I'll go with Tron.
Tron.
Okay.
I do really, really love Tron.
Cool.
Disney World or Disneyland?
World.
Yeah, Disney World. Our kids have never. We live out here, right? They've never been to Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
Because we get annual passes, so it's just as cost effective for us to just always go to World. But
Yeah.
And you can get DVC rooms in Florida heck of a lot
Right.
easier
Yes.
than you can in California.
Yeah.
right, exactly. So yeah, so someday we'll have to go with them to the land. But I think Ryan, you've been to Disneyland, and
Yes.
I've been to Disneyland.
Mhm.
But
I've been to all the Disney parks.
yeah, Ren's been to every Disney park in the world.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so he rode the Tron well before it was in Disney
Yeah.
World. 'Cause
Oh,
he
yeah.
rode the original.
I rode OG Tron in Shanghai.
Cool. So, of all the parks in the world, then, what's your favorite?
Disney Sea in Tokyo is
Tokyo.
the best park. Yeah, it's the theming is amazing. The rides are awesome. The food is epic. I mean, just amazing. Even like the quick service food, like stuff you can get in
Yeah.
a cart. Yeah, definitely Disney
That's
Sea.
cool.
Kristen, what do you think?
Well, I've only been to the world and land, so I
That's fine.
have not been to the Tokyos.
So you have-
and the.
You have 6 parks to choose from then, right?
I do have 6 parks to choose from. Let's see. Probably say Epcot, just because it's fun to do like the around the world and all that
Mhm.
stuff. We like to go during like food and wine or during the garden where there's all the food booths and stuff.
Yeah.
Which honestly you can get food anywhere, but I don't know. I just enjoy the walking around and then some of the fun, Soarin' and the Spaceship Earth and those fun rides.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys? Do you have favorites?
Epcot's my favorite.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom is our daughter's favorite. I don't know what Sterling's favorite is.
I'm going to go California Adventure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a fun
there-
park.
Yeah, there's just, especially because it's been redone and modernized so much,
Yeah.
especially recently in the last decade or so. It's just like, I love the whole Pixar Pier area.
Yeah.
The Incredicoaster is absolutely my favorite roller coaster. And it's just got a lot. I love the vibe over in California Adventure. And the World of Color show is pretty amazing.
That is,
I mean,
that was definitely-
honestly, it changes by the moment. You could ask me tomorrow and it could be something completely different. So,
right? Yeah, I went with some girlfriends, some neighborhood friends, when our kids were little. We went for like
Yeah.
a ladies' weekend to Disneyland. That was my first trip to Disneyland, and we rode the Mickey's Wheel of Death, and that was terrifying. And that's
I
like.
do not like that ride. I do
I
not.
love that
we were,
ride.
We were like, what's so scary? Like people were coming out, you really hear like screaming, and we're like, we got on it, and we're like, this is the worst ride ever. It's terrifying.
Oh,
So
yes.
other than that, I liked California Adventure. Yeah.
That's the one time I got nauseous. Actually, I got nauseous on that and on the Remy ride too. That one, the screens,
Interesting.
I just didn't like the screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
What about your favorite hotel or resort?
Okay, so we like Old Key West for
Okay.
the size of the rooms and just like the overall, it's like a really laid back feel. And the Gurgling Suitcase is the best bar on the property because the bartenders are amazing. Again, bartenders. It makes it sound like we drink all the time. We like don't drink that much normally, I swear. Just not
it's the same with us.
Yes.
When we'll go to the doctor's office and they're like doing the questionnaire and they're like, how much alcohol do you drink? I'm like, I don't know, maybe a drink a month or 2. And unless
Unless
we're
I'm
at Disney, and then
and then
Yeah.
it's a lot.
different.
Yeah.
The more, yeah.
So really like Old Key West for those reasons, right? It's just the room sizes are big, right? So you get this really large space to hang out, especially if you're not doing as much park time. So it's kind of like a little bit of a combo. Like we went for last Thanksgiving. We've been going the last like 5 Thanksgivings. to Disney World, and then they changed the blackout dates for the annual pass that we have, and we're not
Yes.
we don't want to like go to the next level, so we're like, well, we just don't have those 4 days.
Yeah.
So then we have a little bit more time, December hanging out or doing other stuff. But yeah, it's nice because then we can all spread out and have our own space and aren't on top of each other. So I probably took yours.
Well, yeah, you took mine, but I'd say second. I'd say second place for me is Boardwalk.
Okay.
I love the convenience of being able to walk to two of the parks is awesome, and the studio is big enough to sleep 5, which is great. We stay there before and after cruises a lot. With our direct family. 2 adults, 2 kids, and my mom. So 3 adults and 2 teenagers.
Yeah.
And it's big enough for us to not feel like we're going to kill each other for 48 hours. So that's great.
You mentioned earlier that you guys have DVC points. What's your home resort?
So we own it Bay Lake, Grand Floridian, and Polynesian.
Oh, kind of covering all your bases.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of
Got
bought
it.
what was available when we
Yeah.
added on. But we really liked when the kids were younger. We loved Bay Lake because you can walk to Magic Kingdom. And so that was great. I mean, I like those rooms and that layout as well. That resort's nice and it's close to the monorail, right? So you can take the monorail to Epcot or bus over to the other to their parks. But yeah, I think as they've gotten older and we don't do as much Magic Kingdom as we used to because we want to go, other places. So
Yeah. We've got 2 contracts out at Aulani.
Okay.
And then we may have just picked up a contract at the Disneyland Hotel villas that are going to open up here in the fall.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So. Yeah, and finally, when they started reselling annual passes, we picked up Disney World annual passes.
Finally,
again.
oh my gosh,
Nice.
we should not have let that lapse.
No.
Yeah, we were like a little on the fence, like with COVID, and then we were like, no, we're just gonna renew them. We'll end up.
Yeah,
I was terrified of being like you, like all of a sudden you can't get them, and then
right.
We didn't even think
Costs
that would
an
be a
arm and a leg.
possibility. Yeah,
Well, ours expired before the world closed,
Yes.
and we didn't even think about it. But
Yeah.
we're never going to let that happen again. Of course, now we have to. Now we may have to go by coastal. We'll see.
maybe.
We'll see. What's your favorite DCL ship?
Ooh, I'm actually going to say the Wish.
Okay.
So which is probably a bit of a strange pull, but it definitely took the first like full 7 days of back to back to understand it. But now that I did it again, I really enjoyed the ship layout, and I kind of knew where everything was and how to understand the ins and outs of it. So that was good.
Yeah. Cool.
I can't wait for the treasure though, because it will be on a 7-day cruise.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that's part of why I didn't like the Wish as much was probably more the itinerary than the ship itself, right? Like part of it is just, it is the shorter, it's doing the milk run, like the 3-day, 4-day.
Yeah.
Once you get used to it, because I think, if you've been enough on the other ships that are similar, and we haven't done the classic ships, so we're not, we haven't done the smaller ones, but the Dream and Fantasy are almost identical, right? They're sister ships. And so having been on those for multiple cruises and then, multiple weeks, right? You're on a 7 day, so we've spent 3 weeks on the Fantasy and a week of, part of a week on the Dream, and they just were more intuitive, I think. And so if you're only going to go on a ship once, like the Wish once, like it was kind of a weird pattern to like figure out where you're going and where everything is, but then you get used to it. So I don't know. I think I liked the Fantasy the best, but that could just be because we spent the most time on the Fantasy also.
That's fair.
So,
well, someday you'll get on the Disney Wonder, and then you'll realize why it's the best ship in the fleet.
Yeah, right. So I don't have that to compare to.
Your favorite Disney restaurant?
Tempranillo. The food is amazing. The show you get for being hibachi is great.
Is it better than like Tokyo Steakhouse here in Bellevue?
Yeah, it's at Disney, so I'd say yes.
Just the fact that I've got Disney is better.
Yes, exactly.
So I really like, I'm going to say this, the kids don't like it, but I like Skipper's Canteen. Magic Kingdom. I like the theme. I like the bad jokes. I like their falafel. It's good. So that's one of my favorites.
Nice.
Where do
So,
we go for breakfast? The Trattoria?
oh yeah, Trattoria
That's
Al
pretty good for
Forno
breakfast.
for breakfast is great, and so is Ale and Compass.
Yeah.
If you like blueberry bacon pancakes, or dark chocolate waffles, those are really good.
Yeah. What about you? What do you guys like?
Restaurant. Oh, Topolino's.
Yeah.
It's so
We haven't been
good.
there yet. We still need to go there. It's on my list.
It's, I think, the best steak I've ever had. And I love steak.
Topolino's is really good. I would say Jico is a close second. We were just there back in April or April, whenever it was. Not too long ago, our last
I think
trip.
that was like April 1st or something. I don't know.
Okay, so technically I was almost right. And then I think for breakfast it would be the Garden Grill, in Epcot. And it's been closed up until very recently for breakfast. So yeah, got to go back and have that family style breakfast there. Good stuff.
Yes. Yeah, I do enjoy a good like character dining too. But it's been a while since we've done one of those.
Yeah.
I liked I think the best, like my favorite character dining was Hollywood and Vine.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Hollywood Studios. Especially at so we would go at like Thanksgiving, right? So it's Christmas already. And so they were all in there. It was like Mickey, Minnie, and
Goofy and
Daisy and Donald. And they were in like Christmas outfits. They were really cute.
Yeah.
That one's fun around Halloween time too.
Oh yeah.
We ended up one night getting a late reservation and basically a walk-in, and we closed the restaurant, and like Donald and Daisy were just going at it, and just like it was so
That sounds weird, Nathan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. They
were hamming it up.
They were hamming it up. They were joking,
yes.
and yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, last one we have. Your favorite Disney snack.
I got to go with the classic, the Mickey pretzel. And I always ask for the spicy mustard.
Yeah, none of that cheese sauce.
None of that cheese sauce junk. No, you got to get the spicy mustard to go with it.
Okay, I'm gonna have two. One's at Disneyland. It's the macaron from I don't even know what the place is called. It's like a raspberry macaron.
Ooh.
It's so good. I had it for my birthday when I was there, and it was delicious. So that's Disneyland. Disney World, I think just the classic Dole Whip. Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Or just, honestly, we just get popcorn all the time. You get the bucket, and then you refill the popcorn, and you just eat popcorn, and it's like going to the movie, but you're at Disney World.
That's good, too.
Yeah.
That's good, too. Well, thank you, Kristin and Ryan, so much for spending a little time with us. It was so fun getting to talk about Disney cruising and the Wish and snacks and all the rest of that good stuff. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we just want to thank Kristin and Ryan again for coming on, and their dog, Allie. You may have heard her in the background here and there. Hope Allie is feeling much better. She just had some surgery, so she's on the road to recovery. But it was so great to catch up with them, and it was really amazing how similar a lot of their experiences have been. So... DVC owners, multiple time Disney cruisers, annual pass holders at Disney World, live in Seattle. All those things are questionable. Like, why are you doing this on the other side of the country?
It's fun.
It is fun. It's absolutely fun.
And now it's time for the spiel.
It is time for the spiel.
We are not affiliated with Disney, and we are not travel agents. While we can offer our opinions and suggestions, we do recommend working with a travel agent to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have questions or suggestions, or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experiences, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
You can follow us on socials at Our Mousecapades. Please do take a second and rate and review in your podcast app to help people find us.
Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.